The latest and greatest damage-dealing mythic has just hit the Elder Scrolls Online Blackwood chapter, and I'm here to tell you how to get it and how to use it. Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltiasgaming.com, and today's video we are talking about the ultra-powerful Harpooner's Waiting Kilt, which I just acquired on the PCNA live server. You're going to want to pick this up as a PvE damage dealer regardless if you're magic or stamina, because it provides so much critical chance and critical damage for a one-piece mythic. However, there are some tricky parts to using this, keeping up the stacks, and actually it's quite annoying collecting these pieces. So we're going to dive in that way to save you some time and energy figuring this out. Timestamps are below if you wish to skip ahead, as well as other important links. I also have a Stamplar PvE damage dealer loadout that I've been using in part of these video clips I'll share with you at the end, because it is a lot of fun, ultra powerful. Thanks for watching. So what does this new mythic do exactly? Well, if you haven't watched my previous videos, basically you build stacks being rewarded for dealing direct damage. Easiest way to think about direct damage is something that hits one target, such as a light attack, medium, or heavy attack. There are also many skills that can do this in each individual class and or weapon. So this applies to both stamina and magicka, because the Harpooner's Kilt is critical chance and critical damage, not weapon or magicka. It's specific crit chance, crit damage. It's great. So you're going to be able to build up to 10 stacks, getting direct damage with a 1 second cooldown, all the way up to 10 stacks, which gives you right around 5% crit chance and 10% crit damage. For a single piece of gear, that is insane value. However, you lose stacks when taking direct damage, 5 stacks per. So you can really drop to 0 pretty quick. The best way I found to use this is in group settings with dedicated tanks and healers who prevent you from being attacked directly most of the time. I've even tried using this with a companion loadout as a tank, but it didn't seem to work nearly effectively as a solo or dueling with companions, just because you do take direct damage so frequently. So you'll be rewarded for both light attacking and also avoiding attacks, making it an absolute fun play style. A tip for you and what I've used to keep those stacks up to 10 most of the time when doing dungeons with an uncoordinated group, or if you're doing it with a coordinated group and you have a lot of AoE, a lot of different mobs that spawn at once, you want to start off the pull and or the spawn by dodge rolling. So it's the best way to avoid attacks when starting off, or even playing a little bit more at range if you are a melee character like my Stamplar. So now that I got you sold on this, let's move into the not so fun part, and that's acquiring it through ESO's Antiquities system. This is going to be super RNG heavy with a lot of frustration, but I'm going to try to preface it by what you can prioritize, especially if this launches on consoles and you're watching this before the release. You'll need to collect 5 leads in various spots, and you're going to have to dig them up and so on to build this after you've collected all 5. So let's jump into the easiest first, and that's Blackwood. The first lead up is Cut Leather, and I actually got this in the southwestern part World Boss. You just need to clear out a World Boss, and people have got them at 3 different ones, which I've highlighted here. So I was completely oblivious, just clearing out the map, killed a World Boss, and ended up getting it. This one should be pretty simple, so just clear out those World Bosses, specifically those 3. We know they've got them from there. Next up is Shadowfen, Runes of Mazatoon, the final boss, yes. So this is very similar to what I previously shared about Gaze of Sithis. I would essentially run it on normal, 4 DPS, running Pale Order or something, or just a solo build, blowing through it. I don't think there is an increased chance for running it on Veteran, so I didn't really see a need to do this. Just blowing through it on normal, doing it over and over and over until you got it. Only took me about 3 or 4 runs to get it. Next up is the ultra weird and painful one, and that comes from Shadowfen, where you have to essentially loot water-based plants like Nirnroot or Water Hyacinth. So to get Tide Bead Glass, you'll ride around Shadowfen, you'll start noticing people literally camping these alchemy spots, and that's essentially what you have to do. If you're watching this on console, make this your #1 priority before everyone else figures it out, because it is extremely painful. Basically what I did was rode around for about a half an hour, found one that wasn't being camped. I sat there and looted every 2 to 5 minutes is what the cooldown was. I got it in roughly an hour and a half of work, but you'll hear horror stories of people sitting there for 5 or 10 hours. I know this is frustrating and kind of a weird concept. I just made do doing website work or something else because, yeah, this is really RNG, quite painful, but prioritize it number 1 if you can, because this is the hard one. Next up is Wolftail Sash. This is in Murkmire fishing. I just used crawlers, and what I did was kind of go around the northwestern part of the map looking for foul water. And I just selected crawlers as my bait. It only took me about 3 fishing holes to find this, so less than 30 minutes. And other people can fish in your fishing holes if you're unaware, but there's nothing you can do to control that. So just look for the foul water. It needs to come from foul water. Crawlers is the bait I used. Last up is Silverweave Cord and Balfoyan, one of the starter zones, another kind of frustrating one. This is a random drop from the Covenant mobs. So what I did is go to the northeast where a lot of questers are. A lot of people are out in the open fields and you literally can't find one mob. So I went northeast and just did a little circle and killed a bunch of mobs and got it within about an hour. So this one was another frustrating one, but that gives us all 5 leads. Now you need to go dig them up. That doesn't take very long. It's pretty self-explanatory. So now, assuming you got this, how would you use it? So I've combined Harpooner's Wading Kilt with Solzon's, the new trial set for my Stamina DPS setup for my Templar. So I dropped a Monster Helm, as you can see from this chart. This is group PvE DPS, because remember, solo, you're just going to get hit too much, and you're probably going to go with Pale Order. So this loadout is specifically for Stamplar, because I use Deadly Strikes, improving my biting jabs, my main spammable, along with all my dots. And I'll release this build very soon, but I'm still polishing up some of the companion parts of it. So I would suggest dropping a Monster Helm or another Mythic and putting this on because it's ultra powerful. Now, some other folks might use Vatashram weapons because their main spammable is Shrouded Dagger. That's also a great option for stamina builds, but you're going to want to play around with this specifically. You can also adjust this for magic builds, dropping a Monster Helm, putting this on as well, and having an absolute insanely powerful build. So I'll be probably changing a lot of my builds around to use this, dropping Monster Helms. I still think Balrogs is pretty good for a Monster Helm, but the way they're scaling, I can't see using them over this one piece because it's so efficient and allows me to do a lot with my builds. Plus, it's a fun, rewarding playstyle. Having a light attack weed, getting rewarded for that, avoiding damage as well, it just makes it a lot of fun. So good luck with getting this Mythic. You won't regret it. It's super powerful. It's one piece. It's fun, rewarding. And look for links below in the description for other important Blackwood videos that may be able to help you get through this stuff. You're going to want to collect this. It can be frustrating at first. I know. I've experienced it. Everyone else has too. But it's only going to take us a few weeks to collect it and you won't regret it. So I would just suggest spending the time to do it. Also, special thanks to my patrons for sponsoring this video. Thanks all for watching.